It is the spring of 1536, and the air in England feels unnervingly still as Anne Boleyn, Queen of England and mother of the young Elizabeth, walks through the echoing halls of Whitehall, sensing an invisible tide turning against her. Once the center of King Henry VIII's obsession, she now watches him drift away, spending his evenings whispering with Jane Seymour, a quiet, modest lady-in-waiting who embodies everything Anne is not, and everything Henry now thinks he needs. England still has no male heir, and that fear gnaws at Henry more deeply than any wound. Every advisor reminds him that a prince is the kingdom's only shield against chaos, and as his frustration grows, so does the influence of Thomas Cromwell, the cunning political mastermind who was once Anne's ally. Their alliance had fractured over power and money. Anne wanted funds from dissolved monasteries used for charity and education, while Cromwell wanted them under crown control, meaning his control. With Henry's love fading, Cromwell knew that Anne, for all her intelligence and fiery charm, was no longer protected, and so, as Henry's gaze turns more affectionately toward Jane Seymour, Cromwell crafts the plan that will rewrite English history. On April 30th, 1536, the first arrest is made. Mark Smeaton, a court musician, coerced into confessing adultery with the Queen. His impossible confession triggers a chain reaction. Within days, 4 more men are arrested: Sir Henry Norris, Sir Francis Weston, William Brereton, and even Anne's own brother, George Boleyn, accused of treasonous affairs with the Queen. The charges are absurd, based on dates she couldn't have been present and accusations with no proof. But proof isn't the goal. The goal is to remove Anne. On May 15th, 1536, Anne and George faced trial at the Tower of London before a jury of peers whose futures depend on pleasing Cromwell and the King. Anne stands tall in a gown of black and crimson, denying every charge with grace and strength, but the verdict has been written long before she enters. Guilty. She is sentenced to death. Henry reacts with performative heartbreak, but almost immediately begins planning his future with Jane Seymour. Still, he grants Anne one small mercy. He orders a French swordsman known for a swift, clean execution instead of the brutal English axe. On May 19th, Anne walks to the scaffold in a gray damask gown and crimson cloak, her step steady, her face calm. She speaks with dignity, praising the King not because he deserves it, but because she knows Elizabeth will need her father alive. She kneels upright, refusing a chair, and as she turns her head at a small distraction from the executioner, the sword flashes and ends her life in a single, silent moment. Her death clears the path for Henry's marriage to Jane Seymour and for Cromwell's continued rise. Yet the accusations against Anne crumble under modern scrutiny. No evidence, no witnesses, only political convenience. Historians overwhelmingly agree Anne Boleyn was innocent, a woman destroyed by the same ambition that once elevated her. But what her enemies never foresaw was her legacy. Her daughter Elizabeth would grow into one of the most powerful and influential monarchs in world history, ruling for 45 years and shaping an age. In killing Anne, they tried to erase her. Instead, they immortalized her. Her fall wasn't the deadly result of seduction or scandal, but the outcome of a calculated conspiracy crafted by a king desperate for a son, a minister hungry for power, and a court ready to destroy anyone who threatened their place. Anne Boleyn's story lives on not in the lies told about her, but in the daughter who rose to become a queen. and in the enduring truth that power once granted can vanish as swiftly as a sword in the morning sun.